Are you a game changer? I want to look at game changers in the scriptures where God took ordinary people and he saw them do extraordinary things. Just a thought. What has this time taught you in isolation? You know, when God needed a nation builder that brought hope and vision, he went straight to Abraham, who became a father of all nations. When he wanted to pull down a Pharaoh, he reached into the bulrushes and pulled out a Moses. When he wanted to give his son a lineage, he went to the red light district and found a Rahab. When he wanted to take down a 7-foot cyber bully called Goliath, he went and tapped David, a millennial, on the shoulder. When he wanted to neutralize an emerging cult, he went straight to Elijah. When he wanted to pick out a man of faith that would sow a crop when no one else wanted to, a crop in the middle of a drought, he went straight to Isaac. And the scripture says in Genesis 26, he reaped 100-fold increase. When there was a downturn in the economy and people were struggling to pay their bills and were about to go under, he emailed Elisha, and Elisha turned oil, released oil in pots everywhere in this widow's house, which he sold and paid all her bills. You know, Jesus looked and keeps looking for people that'll make themselves available, just ordinary people like you and I. You know, when he needed a statesman, a visionary, a good fiscal manager to lead a nation, he gave Joseph the nod. For an anointed preacher who knew how to cross his T's and dot his I's, he went straight to Isaiah the prophet. An incredible, humble woman in the scriptures. Jesus called her. He watched her, how she honored and loved her two daughters-in-law. Her name was Naomi. Naomi was a real mother in Israel. You know, when God looked for a leader with a different spirit, he went straight to Caleb. Caleb was a multi-generational leader. He showed enormous courage in the face of incredible odds and was fit and able even when some of his contemporaries decided to retire. Lastly, he looked for a pillar in the church in the New Testament. Someone in spite of how they started in life, and that was a man called Paul, or Saul of Tarsus. Saul of Tarsus was converted at a street called Straight. Paul later trained, equipped, and parented churches right across Asia Minor, and he did this all. He wrote his best work. He wrote his best work while he was in isolation. Now, there's a common thread here, all spaced out over a couple of millennia. God used ordinary people to do extraordinary things. All he does is he looks for a willing heart. Is that you? Let not your heart be troubled.